Welcome to TeenPODS. Once again, we're delighted today to welcome Jack Cantrall on board. Welcome, Jack. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. Nice to see you guys.
Jack, you and I met 4 years ago when we were both coaching rowing at Takarina Grammar School. In those days, you were really keen to go and pursue a rowing career and go to the States and study. That didn't happen. What happened then since?
So in the early days of rowing, I thought, I'm going to go to Harvard and row. And then I realized, actually, you have to be pretty much, the best in the world to do that. So that quickly didn't happen. And I set my sights on just normal university in New Zealand for that.
And so it was always your dream while you were at school to go to university? It was always a goal?
Yeah, I always, I thought I always would want to do a PhD eventually. I don't know why. I think I had this fixation on prestige or something.
So Jack, you've gone down to Wellington University. You are now studying 4 years after school. And what did you choose to read at university?
I started off doing law. Probably the same reason I wanted, it just sounded cool. And then it took me about 5 months to realize I hated it. And then so I changed to a business degree, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm international business and economics.
So that's a really hard topic, isn't it? You leave school, you have a dream that you want to pursue, you wanted to do rowing, you realised that you needed to train a lot harder to get into that and get scholarship for it. And then you decided on law. And actually, a lot of our students listening to the podcast or teenagers still at school will want to go to university but might not know what they want to do. And yet you established yourself in law and then you changed to business. Is that quite easy to do? And is that what lots of students do once they're at university?
Yeah, it is quite easy, and especially for law because it's not automatic entry. So you have to take a second major when you start. So it's really easy to change either into that second major or just into something else.
I think that's a really good message because, as a teenager, you thought you wanted to go to Ivy League, you thought you could get a rowing scholarship. It was a kind of a dream, it was a bit of a goal. You realised perhaps that wasn't going to be realistic. So you still realise that you want to go to university. You've gone to university, you've tried something, and maybe for the wrong reasons, who knows? Who knows if it's wrong or right? It doesn't actually matter because you gave it a try, but you've realised you didn't like something. And I think we get into this mindset sometimes that when we're in something, we're in it for life, but this is not the way the world is nowadays. We can start a career, and people are now having 3-4 different careers in their lifetime. You don't have to be a doctor and stay being a doctor if it doesn't make you happy. So I think your message to other teens or early 20s is great. You started off doing law, but you've changed and you're now 3 years into your degree. So I gather you're enjoying this one more than you were your last one.
It's not my passion, but I kind of am at a point where I just want to get a degree. So I'm enjoying it more than law, though, for sure.
And I also think that's a really critical message because I think when you leave school, there's an established mindset that once you go to university, you know what you want to do. You come up with your degree in architectural medicine, whatever it is, and you go into that set career. Whereas actually it sounds like you're at a stage you just want to finish the degree and then find the thing that's for you. But it also, you haven't pursued the standard path, which is to fulfill 3 years and then actually qualify. You've taken some time out as well. Can you tell us why you took time out and what you did in that time?
Yeah. So in, 2018, I was in my second year of uni, and I didn't have a great year. I wasn't liking my degree and multiple things. It wasn't a very good year for me. So I just thought I need to refresh myself, I guess. So I decided to take 6 months off uni, the first 6 months of last year, and my dad kind of pushed me in the direction of Outward Bound, and I ended up doing a 72-day Outward Bound course over in North and South America. So that was quite a big thing, obviously, and definitely came back from it with a new sort of perspective.
And what did you learn on that? Because it sounds quite gritty. It sounds quite exciting. So what did that experience teach you? What did you come away with?
I guess the main things were I was being too hard on myself. That was sort of the main feedback I got, because Outward Bound, you get a lot of feedback. Like every day, everyone's giving you have to give people feedback and receive feedback. So being too hard on myself, and I guess not being so focused on, well, if I do this 1 degree, then I have to just do that for the rest of my life, I guess.
It's really interesting listening to you, Jack, because I know you as an extraordinary rowing coach. I know you as somebody that's a good leader, that works well in a team, has great communication skills with young people, is a people motivator. You were an extraordinary rowing coach. And I also saw on the water, it was your passion. You absolutely loved it and you thrived. Listening to you now, where you've not found your way, you say what you're studying is not your passion, again, is a really clear message to our listeners, that you might find yourself in one area of life feeling fulfilled, and in another area feeling a sense of lack. And I think also when you're a teenager, you assume that adults have found their set career path, they trained for it and they had this steady path, but actually life is almost a process of, what do I not want to do? It's a process of elimination, and you sound like you're on that path. And it's really nice to normalize those feelings for teens, because there's not a set path. You can find your passion in some area, and then you come back to doing study, which might not be for you, but you do it as a means to an end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And actually, another big takeaway from Outward Bound was the whole time, because I have pretty bad anxiety a lot of the time, and pretty much the whole time on Outward Bound, I didn't have any. And I think it was mainly due to, I was more worried about how sore and tired I was, as opposed to stupid things in my head. And it kind of made me realize maybe I need to pursue a career, not necessarily in the outdoors, but something where I'm doing something physical to keep myself sane, I guess.
And the great thing about doing a business degree is, it can help you in every area of your life. And we were talking earlier about transferable skills to another guest. And, you're learning so much within a business degree that if you do decide to go and pursue any career, some part of this business degree will come in useful to you. It's not a useless degree at all.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jack, I just think your message is really powerful to men as well, because we had another teen being interviewed not so long ago, and when we first interviewed her, we said, how are you? And she said, yes, great, life is wonderful. And then further down the line, she admitted that actually she suffers anxiety as well. And a lot of male young men, boys, teens are frightened to say that they struggle with anxiety and even depression beyond that. And I think the message is, speak about your feelings, be really honest, but be really honest with yourself. Don't hide from yourself, because most adults also suffer from anxiety and other issues where they struggle in life. And Joe and I always put the message out there, be honest and be real, because when you're vulnerable, that's when you grow. If you can't be vulnerable, you're not going to grow. And therefore you will aspire to change, you will seek innovation, and you'll be creative in what you do. And I've always seen you as somebody that has never suffered anxiety. On the water, gosh, you were just such a passion of life and energy and inspiration. So it's interesting that one thing that we see about other people is not necessarily what we feel ourselves, but to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh.
Joe?
I just talking on mute. It was very nice to talk to myself. Sorry about that. What I was going to
Are you still with us, Joe?
I'm still sorry. The cup of tea has not lulled me to sleep. Now, what I was going to say is there's a lovely message between the Outward Bound and the anxiety, because basically you were physically exhausted, you were out in the fresh air, you were doing exercise, and actually when we do that, we lose our capacity to feel so anxious, and that's a really important message for everybody. People do not really understand the effects that physical exercise and exhaustion can have on us, and the huge benefits that there are to gain from that. One of the best things for anxiety, go for a walk, get out, go for it, because you leave the house as one person, you come back as another person.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely learning that in isolation right now.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question, Jack. How are you doing in isolation? Because although we're releasing this as a teen podcast, for those people that listen in the future, we're actually in lockdown as we speak. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's not terrible. I decided to come home, and so I'm just with my parents right now. And my sister's up the road, and she's technically in our bubble, so I get to see her a little bit.
And was the adjustment huge for you? Was that quite hard to adjust because it was with very short notice?
Yeah, but at the same time, it had only been probably a month since I had moved out of home from summer, so it wasn't too crazy. Obviously, it's not the easiest thing living with my parents again, especially when I'm stuck inside. Well, not necessarily, but confined to just us three.
Jack, and Jack, you're at university. You're obviously studying. You've fallen into a business degree. You still don't really know what you want to do you, when you leave university? You haven't got a set plan, have you?
No, but I am starting to lean towards military is my plan. But I'm not stuck on anything. No, I don't really know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and I just think the message for teenagers as well is, you don't have to know what you want to do. I'm sorry, I'm 42 and I've only just realised what I want to do. It's taken me a long time. I've tried a lot of things on the way. There's actually no rush, just enjoy the ride as well. Enjoy each day.
Yeah, definitely.
Jack, thank you so much for joining us today. We're talking to teens about being realistic about your expectations, being realistic about your emotions, and I know you will have inspired so many. Good luck with your studies. I hope lockdown doesn't last too long.
Yeah, hopefully.
Lovely to see you again, Jack.
You too. Thanks, guys.